Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Madhouse. I'm Josh and today I'm going to do Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesday is, as I'm sure I don't say as often as I should, the creation of Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey. I'll put her link in the description. Today's topic then is books you won't read ever. Hence the artfully drawn sign there. It's truly brilliant, isn't it? I suppose it more evokes the sense of book bans rather than things that one doesn't want to read, and I'm completely opposed to the idea of book bans, so I may talk about this another time. So anyway, shall we begin? I have to say that I really struggled with this one because I'm of the opinion that you should try everything at least once. There are only a few exceptions to this rule, and none of those have anything to do with reading. So finding this was very difficult. Hence, for the sake of my sanity, I've decided to cheat a little bit and tweak the rules to include books that I have started but will never finish, because I'll go insane if I have to try and find books that I won't start, because just because I don't know a book exists doesn't mean I won't like it. Now there are some that I never want to read, but also there are these which for whatever reason I couldn't finish. Maybe it's due to bad writing style or terrible plots or terrible characters or irritating characters that I just wanted to punch and couldn't stand here any more of. That's where I'm going with this, you see. I mean, some of these I really feel terrible for not being able to finish, but I just cannot bring myself to do it. Number 5. This is not going to come as a surprise to anybody, I think, if they've considered this question. It is 50 Shades of Grey and its sequels, 50 Shades Darker and whatever the other one is, by E.L. James. It started out as a Twilight fanfiction, and Twilight isn't great in the first place. Let's face it, there's sparkly vampires, which, while an interesting take on it, is not a good one. And Bella is so flat. Oh, I can't stand it. So that makes sense then when I can't even remember the name of the protagonist from this. She is also flat with next to no personality because it's designed as an insert for the author's wishes to find an exceptionally wealthy billionaire and just become some sort of sexual object in exchange for a nice car or being taken to dinner at the Four Seasons or whatever, something like that. I don't know exactly what happened because I couldn't finish it. I only got a few chapters in and had to stop. The only reason I picked it up in the first place wasn't because I was expecting to be turned on by it, but because I was making a video about it. A video which I hope you'll remember was the Hans Reads, where I do a reading of it and then a slight review in my campus German accent while wearing this moustache. Pick the moustache if you want a link to it.
Pick the moustache.
Number 4 is Wuthering Heights by one of the Bronte sisters. I think it was probably Emily. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of that much literature from this time or of this sort. I get really wound up at Jane Eyre, and Pride and Prejudice was painful to read. I did get a slight bit of enjoyment from it in the fact that the whole happy ending thing makes people happy when they read it, but it was painful, and I cannot bring myself to start Wuthering Heights. Heathcliff, from what I've heard and some of the films I've seen, is not exactly great, and I'll just wind myself up over it. And there's really no need to do that anymore. I've decided I'm really going to try and, stop subjecting myself to things that I know will wind me up, because it's just a load of unnecessary stress and anger. Number 3 is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, the author of the renowned Remains of the Day. And also, I think the most recent one he did was The Sleeping Giant, I can't remember exactly. But I'm a big fan of his writing style. It's interesting and exceptionally good. I got halfway through it before I had to stop. And I didn't stop because of the writing style, because it's excellent and the characterization was fantastic. And the plot was interesting too. It was the underlying concept and I suppose the plot from that, which I couldn't read any further. If you don't know the novel, allow me to summarise it briefly. It's in an alternate world where all major diseases have been cured and life expectancy is exceptionally high, which is fantastic, but the way they do it is that they breed people, clones of real people, I suppose one could call them, specifically to harvest their organs when they reach adulthood. They're not allowed to smoke or drink or do anything that could damage their bodies, because their bodies are not their own. They're for use for someone else. They are for use by someone else. And it's such an intriguing concept, and logically it makes perfect sense, but it's such a disturbing concept too. When I tried it, I couldn't get my head around it, and it hurt, and it was... Ugh. I imagined what it would be like if I were raised like that, and I couldn't do it. The worst part is that the real people don't believe that they are people. They don't have souls. They're just there for the organ. And these clones just go along with it because they've been raised to believe it's natural and what's right. And it's sickening and heartbreaking, and I so want to read on, but I cannot bring myself to do it. Number 2 then is Finnegans Wake by James Joyce. This is entirely because it's regarded to be one of the most difficult pieces in the English language. It's full of so many wordplays and portmanteaus and a rather, what's that word? Non-linear narrative that nobody truly knows what's going through it. Nobody knows what Joyce wanted from this, unless his intention was to drive his readers insane. While this is the Madhouse, there is a certain limit to which I can take this before my brain starts leaking out of my ears. Number 1, if you know anything about how I read, this will be no surprise to you. Anything written by Nora Roberts or other such writers. Bodice rippers and other cheesy romance novels are definitely not my thing. To be honest, romance isn't much my thing at all. I tend not to read it. Or I tend to read books where romance happens in it, but it's not the central theme of it. Because it bores me, or it makes me realise that I am woefully single and I can't do it. But also because these books in particular are terribly written, and often use the word glisten far too often. And typically I think if the book includes the word glisten more than 3 times, you know it's time to stop. And practically every woman in the books is either an exceedingly supposedly strong, independent woman who goes for what she wants and takes it, but then as soon as she meets the man of her dreams, she's happy to leave that all behind and start a family. And that's fine. In fact, if that's what a woman wants to do, it's fantastic, but I don't have to enjoy reading about it. Or they are, from the start, those very wishy-washy characters. It's just, oh, one day my prince will come, and all of that Disney bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Disney, but I can only really take it because it's got the songs and the talking animals. If it's in a book, I expect something a little bit better. The only reason I even know about these, really, because it's so much not my sort of thing, is because my grandmother loves them. Grandma has shelves full of these, and I tried to read some as a child, not realising what they were. I will never make that mistake again. Now there are just a few points I want to make, just to remind you that, excuse me, I have the giveaway to celebrate getting 50 followers on my channel, although it's now gone up to 61 I believe, which is fantastic. Again, I can't believe people are listening. And for the giveaway I am giving away either a copy of either a Wordsworth Classics copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, or a copy of Carrie Hope Fletcher's All I Know Now. Not these copies because I'm reading them and I like to stick notes in them and things, so I haven't started that one yet actually, but this one I have. It's a great read, you'll enjoy it. Or you can also have any book for £15 from bookdepository.com, which is fantastic. And because I realised, you know, that's 60 names I have to stick into the proverbial hat and find, and while I do have a hat, that's a lot of paper that I have to cut out and print, and it's a load of effort. So instead I've set up a rafflecopter thing. I'll pop the link down below so that you just need to go and fill that in. I'm not entirely sure what you have to fit in because I've not filled in my own rafflecopter before. I've set it up, but I can't see what you will see. If you do that, then you'll be entered for a chance to win. Alright, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching. There will be another video up on Friday. It will be the first in the letter bomb thing I set up. I don't know what to call it really, which I'm really looking forward to, and I hope you lot enjoy it as well. And as always, please click like and subscribe and share, and why not leave some comments down below. Tell me what you thought of the video. Did you like it? Did you think it was shit and you have any suggestions for how I should improve? Or do you have any thoughts about the books themselves? Do you agree? Do you have any suggestions for books I might try that would change my mind on these? Or any thoughts? Just generally, I like to hear from you. That's why I did this. It's like an online book club thing. It's fun. And lastly, have a nice day. Cheers! Whoops, button.